Welcome to the Spirit-Led Sisters Heart and Honey podcast.
My name is Lydia, known as Heart. I am a sound healing medium, a somatic healer, and intuitive teacher.
And I am Amber, known as Honey. I am a psychic medium, angel healer, and trauma healer.
Our goal in this podcast is to bring you the tips, tricks, and tools that you need to up-level your life and to allow you to take aligned action for your soul's highest and greatest good.
Each week, join us for new content focusing on the ins and outs of your energy body and how to elevate your vibration. Welcome to our podcast for this week. We are talking about resting through raising your vibration. The really interesting thing is coming up with this week's topic. Lydia and I had a completely different topic to discuss. And we both woke up, and when we hopped on the call, we were preparing for our podcast today. And we were both like, hey, we're actually not supposed to work on this topic. So we bring to you resting through raising your vibration. So this is very much a led by our angel group podcast.
When we were given this title, we definitely questioned it at the beginning because it doesn't make complete sense right away until you think about it. And there's most definitely a meaning that we have been given through the title, through our angels, because so many times when we think about needing to rest, we don't think about it like, oh, I need to raise my vibration, so I'm going to take a rest. We think of like, I need a rest, so I'm going to watch Netflix, but sometimes Netflix isn't going to actually give us the rest that we need in that sense. I mean, sometimes Netflix can be a really wonderful tool and a wonderful thing. I'm not hating on Netflix. My husband and I watch it like pretty much every day together. It's a really, really sweet time that we have together. But there's sometimes when we are expecting to get rejuvenation and to get this elevation of our energy from activities that we go into with the source of being like, I'm going to rest. And when we do that, we're actually going to the wrong source, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I have nothing wrong with Netflix either, especially during this whole pandemic. It's interesting though, when you really think about the word rest, most people just think about the word rest in association with sleep. And I think that rest for a lot of different people can be a lot of different things. Some people, it could be resting while working in the yard, which sounds counter to rest because you're actually working, but you're resting your mind, you're resting your soul, and you are allowing your vibration to rise and to elevate, which uplifts your mood, which is essentially resting in your soul. So it's kind of a cool thing to witness, especially when you've been working with someone, or if you have been kind of down in the dumps yourself and you do something that raises your vibration and you're like, I actually feel really rested, or I feel more like myself. And maybe rest isn't the right word here specifically, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. So when you are raising your vibration, you are resting your soul.
It's been really interesting here in Paraguay because the culture here is so different than in the States, and they really know how to slow down and enjoy the moments that they are in. And it's something that I tend to very much be future oriented, and I'm constantly reminding myself, and I've been a lot better about it recently than in the past, just this of living in the moment. But it's definitely not something that comes in very naturally. I have to bring in that awareness over and over. And it's been really wonderful being surrounded by a culture here of people who really know what it is to take the necessary time to live in the moment and to rest in the moment. so that they can go back out and be rejuvenated and full of energy. Like Amber said, we all go about resting in a different way. What works for me may not work for you. I love music, and whenever I am really letting myself play just for the sake of playing and not thinking about, oh, how is this going to sound? How are other people going to like what I'm playing? But if I'm just actually just playing to play, it is so relaxing for me. And as I'm playing, I can feel my energy lifting up. I can feel burdens being lifted. And it's the same for singing. Like, I now understand how important it is for me to make music a priority in my healing and in my rest, because it really is this raising of my vibration. And for Amber, being in the garden, like so many times when we're talking on the phone, she's like outside and in the garden, and it makes me so happy because I know that when she's out there and she's pulling up those weeds, like she's also getting this rest in her heart, and she's able to go forward and through just being in nature, right? And we go so fast through life, and so many times we go through our day and we don't prioritize this rest that is so important. And maybe we do prioritize the rest, but we put it as rest in a different form than what our soul needs in order to have that rejuvenation, in order to raise our vibration. So it is really important. And I definitely know that when Amber and I are being led to do a podcast episode on something, it's because it's very important in our life as well, right? We're not just like preaching this and not living it. We're in this right now, both of us, like being aware of when we need to take breaks and being aware of when we need to bring in more of this raising of our vibration so that we can really have that alignment that our soul needs in order to go forward. We've been in some very heavy times in the world, and now more than ever, we need to take this time in nature, through music, through reading a book, or whatever it is that you resonate with, right? Just making that time.
Yes, I've been out in the yard quite a bit. That is definitely my sanctuary, if you will. Like, not only do I take pride in how the yard looks, but I think that I get so much fulfillment out of planting things and seeing them grow and the beauty behind it. And that fills my soul cup. That absolutely fills my soul cup. And I know that is one way that I like to raise my vibration. And that is a very restful thing for me. And, another thing that I really enjoy doing is driving in the car in silence. And that may sound maddening to some people. However, as weird as it may sound, it's just, I don't really think about anything. I'm just driving and there's no music. There's nothing. I'm at one with myself, and I'm present, and I'm in a moment, and I'm just driving down the road. And, a lot of things like come to me as I'm driving, and I, because I'm not really thinking about them, I have solutions that come in and ways to better take care of myself or better take care of situations that have come up in my life, et cetera, et cetera. And I know that you miss driving, Lydia.
I know, this is like, when someone puts this chocolate cake in front of you and then you're like, but I'm on a diet. Like, that's how this feels. I'm like listening to you and I'm like, oh my goodness, I really miss driving. But what I have started doing, since now I can't do that, is I walk. We have a little park right by our house, and I go there with my headphones. And sometimes with Luna, but usually she's my Labrador retriever, and she's quite a big dog and loves all dogs and people. So whenever I have her with me, it's not as relaxing, air quotes, but I go there and I have my headphones on and I listen to podcasts, and that always helps me raise my vibrations because I'm very careful about what podcasts I listen to. And if I'm ever feeling like energy drained, I know that I can listen to something where someone is putting out such positive energy, and instantly upon listening to it, my energy has been raised. And it makes me really happy as I'm saying this, that now we are hosting this podcast because we get to have this container for people to experience the same thing. And that makes my heart so happy.
Same. It definitely makes my heart happy to not only reach people and reach them at their highs, but also be able to reach them at their lows. Even if we are not having a bad day, and you listen to a podcast, and I'm talking about you and I because we discuss listening to podcasts all the time, listening to some of those podcasts, just as Lydia was talking about, is so uplifting and it's so powerful, and you gain more clarity and you gain understanding, and you think to yourself, I really am not alone. This is happening everywhere. Every person deals with highs and lows, and it doesn't make you feel like you're separate from other people. You definitely feel that sense of community through a podcast or through music, even, the lyrics that you're listening to. The same thing here. Our words have so much power and so much meaning behind them. And I'm so thrilled that we get to do this. This is super fun for me.
Amen. I feel the same way.
One other thing that I think is incredibly uplifting for me is just spending time with loved ones, spending time with my significant other, with like even just running errands or doing mundane things. Like some people don't care for their partners very much. But even if we're just piddling in the yard or we're sitting on the couch, little things like that, like those moments bring in clarity and love and understanding. Like it's just, that fills my container as well. And especially since this COVID shift has happened, we have had a little more time to spend together. And of course that brings more joy and abundance in my life. And, I'm grateful for COVID in some small ways, not so many others, but there are positives to it, I suppose. But it's forced a lot of people to rest. It has forced a lot of people out of jobs. It's forced a lot of people to reconsider where their life is. And, the word force is such a huge word, and it sometimes can have a negative connotation to it. But in this sense, the way that I view what's happening in our worlds, and I say our as a collective, I feel like what is happening in our worlds right now is that we are being forced to really take a step back and look at our lives as they are. And we're almost being challenged to look at everything with the 2020 vision, ironically being 2020, but looking at it through the lens of crystal clarity. Is this where you are supposed to be in your life? Are you with the partner that you're supposed to be with in life? Are you in the career that you're supposed to be in? All of these different things that we have questions to. And now you have the time and you have the opportunities to change those if you don't feel like you're in alignment. And as scary as that is, it is what it is. Like, this is where we are. And so we can make the best of it, or we can allow ourselves to fall into that negative pattern. But I'm not one to fall into the negative pattern very often. So I would like to keep up on the skyscraper.
And if you are currently going through something in your life and you feel that you're not in alignment, you're seeking that joy, and you know that you're not reaching that capacity that you have of joy, then this is a really beautiful thing that you have that awareness, right? Because that means that you're at a crossroads. And like Amber said, we can keep going down the wrong path. I'm saying wrong in quotes too, because there is no necessarily right or wrong, right? But you can go down a path that is not for your highest good, and there will be lessons there, but you are not going to get the fulfillment that your soul is longing for, right? And the sooner you turn around and you step into the unknown and the uncertainty, but also the most beautiful experiences that your future has for you, there's going to be so much rest. Like that in itself, like as you take those steps, as you have the courage to do those things that you've been holding back because it's scary, but as you do that, you are going to find so many things start aligning in your life, from relationships, right? Like, I feel like so many times the reason that we don't take steps that we should be taking is because we're afraid that we're going to lose certain people out of our lives. And something that has been really encouraging to me as I'm letting people go that I'm not meant to have in my life anymore is just knowing that if they're not supposed to be in my life, then I'm not supposed to be in their life as well. But as you are going forward and as you are making these choices, things are going to align and people are going to come into your life, and you're going to find so much more rest in this place. And as you raise your vibration, what's going to happen is the people that you attract into your life are going to be higher vibe people as well, which will just bring more blessings into your life.
This is true. So I can give you an example of a time in my life where things shifted for me drastically, not once, but twice. So I'm 34, and this is my, you're going to want to hear this, third career. I initially started out as a paramedic, and, I loved that field. I absolutely loved being able to help people. And there were times in that field where I knew that I was not going to be there for the long haul. Just little things that would happen here or there. I would hear like, is this really what you're supposed to do for your whole career? Is this really where you're supposed to be? And I continued to stay. I was not listening to those little, what I now know as angel whispers. I was not listening to those. And so, one day I'm like driving down the road and I am hit head on by an older gentleman. I was taken out of work for like 7 months. I broke my leg and, had like my ACL completely reconstructed. And having that, you would think that would be a wake-up call saying, okay, so you've just had your knee operated on and now you're going to go back out and start lifting, 200 and 300 pound clients, because let's be honest, where I'm from, there are some clients that are homegrown. And I say that in the most kindest of ways. So when you're working in this field, you have to lift, not only these people, but I'm also stressing my newly reconstructed knee. So, does that really work out? And then the very first day that I go back from my leave, it ices like 1.5 inches. So, imagine going back with this freshly reconstructed knee and it's really icy. So there was another sign, but did I listen? No. So I think probably about 2 years later, I winded up sustaining a back injury that ultimately took me out of working in that industry. And it was a sad day. And so at this point, I had to reconsider what I was going to do for a career. And I thought about massage therapy for a while. So off to massage school I went, and then I started out in business for myself. I was very blessed to be able to do that. And, 5.5 years in, COVID hits and I have all of these other things. And it's like, hey, so you're really supposed to shift into this other thing now, which is where we are. So third career at 34, but it brings me joy, and it's fulfilling my heart. And I think that that's the biggest thing. Like, I feel more rested doing this than I did working as a medic and working as a massage therapist. So it's where we are today.
I love that. For me, moving to Paraguay has been such a moment of deep rest in a sense, because so this happened before COVID. A year before COVID, we moved to Paraguay, my husband and I, in 2019, and we both started working from home, and we're both here all the time, and we don't have a car. And so not having people that we knew, right, not having that support group that we had back home, we spent a lot of time just the two of us. And of course, as we stayed here, we met people, and now we have this beautiful community. the amount of time that I have had by myself over the last couple years is probably more time than I've had if you took all of the time from the time I was born up until we moved to Paraguay. Like, I have probably had more time to think during these last 2 years than I ever had during all of the rest of my life. And I know that sounds really crazy, but I have lived a very full life, moving very fast, traveling a lot, going places every weekend. From the time I was little, even living with my family, we did that. And being here in Paraguay without a car and not knowing as many people, and with COVID starting, obviously, I feel like I'm not the only one here because of COVID, right? Like, we've all experienced, not everyone, because I know that there are some people who have been, who are like in the medical field, who've been working more than ever before, but many of us have experienced a time of rest and a lot more time to think about things. And for me, it's been really good because I, in the past, have gone so fast, and I really feel like this is the universe telling me to slow down even more than I ever have before. And it's been such a beautiful time of restoration for me. And I feel like in my marriage, we've gone deeper than we've ever been before. And in my relationships, I've healed relationships. I have more time to think about what is serving me and what is not. And so I've definitely done a lot of cleansing in my life, like letting go of a lot of things, things that I thought that I needed, but I didn't. They were just taking up space, and it's allowed for a lot more focused and intentional living, which has been really beautiful.
Yeah, I think it's just important for every person to figure out what resonates most for them in terms of rest. What are those things that fill your cup, and what are those things that raise your energy? Who are the people that you are around that make you feel good? And when you find those people, you stick around them.
Hold on to them. Don't let them go.
That's right. And hold on tight.
Well, Amber, this has been such a wonderful conversation as always.
Absolutely. Can't wait to speak and chat with you guys later. Thank you for joining the Heart and Honey podcast. We have thoroughly enjoyed having you here today, and we hope that you've gained the clarity that you need to uplevel your life. You can join us each Monday for Musings with Heart and Honey. And if you're not following us on social media, hop on over to Instagram and follow us for more healing tips and tricks at Spirit Led Sisters.
If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with us by leaving a review on iTunes, or take a screenshot of this episode and share it on Instagram. We'll see you next time on Heart and Honey.